So seeing as we're currently in the midst of this summer's transfer window, with a few signings already being completed as I record this, it makes you wonder, what are some of the best transfers football has ever seen? Because listen, transfers happen all the time, all across the globe, and not all of them always work out for various reasons. But on the flip side, many transfers have paid off as well over the years for both the player and the club. So today I'm going to be listing 10 of the best transfers we've ever seen in our beautiful game, based on value for money, impact for their club, and just as an overall player, and various other factors. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number 10 on the list is Sergio Aguero to Man City. On the 28th of July 2011, Manchester City arguably made the most important signing in their history, and that is none other than the Argentine striker, Sergio Aguero, who was considered a hot prospect with a bright future whilst at Atletico Madrid, who was scoring goals for fun in Spain, and was becoming a well-renowned striker all across Europe, with many teams looking into it. So it was no surprise that Man City came knocking on the door, as they were a rising power at the time, having had a financial takeover in 2008, because at that point in 2011, Man City weren't the powerhouse that we know them for now, as they were still on the rise looking for the final piece to the puzzle. And in 2011, Man City signed Aguero for a fee of 35 million, and the prolific striker got going straight away after scoring a brace in his debut versus Swansea and playing a vital role in winning Man City's first ever Premier League title by scoring 30 goals in his debut season, including his iconic last minute goal versus QPR. And since all that, Aguero has scored in abundance for Man City, leading him to become Man City's all-time leading goal scorer, with 260 goals, as well as winning a Golden Boot in 2015. And bearing in mind, this man struggled with injuries as well, and he's still considered one of the best strikers in Premier League history. So who knows where he could have got to if he never struggled with those injuries. And not only that, Aguero has been a key figure in Man City's success in recent years, winning 5 Premier League titles, an FA Cup and 6 League Cups, which led him to even be inducted into the Premier League's Hall of Fame, as well as having his own statue unveiled at the Etihad, cementing himself as Man City's greatest ever striker, although a certain Norwegian in town could take that title soon. Number 9, Manuel Neuer to Bayern Munich. When we talk about some of the greatest transfers in football, we often forget about great defenders and goalkeepers, who are essential to any successful team, and to say Manuel Neuer was an essential player for Bayern Munich is an understatement, to say the least. As on the 1st of June 2011, Bayern Munich cashed in on an opportunity to sign an up-and-coming German keeper from Schalke for a fee of 27 million. And although Neuer is loved by all Bayern fans today, he didn't start off on the greatest terms with loyal Bavarians, as they were unhappy about Bayern making the decision of signing a Schalke keeper, as the two German clubs are fierce rivals. However, the tables turned quickly, as Neuer quickly proved his worth straight away, with his impressive shot stopping and reflexes. And nowadays, many people think of the likes of Ederson and Alisson as the best ball-playing goalkeepers, but Neuer was doing all of that well before those two, as he was so comfortable with the ball at his feet, and could create attacking chances with just one kick of the ball. And in his first season at Bayern, he won the treble, which was just a sign of more things to come, as he enjoyed tremendous success at Bayern Munich, and solidified himself as one of the best goalkeepers ever, winning 11 Bundesliga titles, 2 Champions Leagues, 5 DFB Pokals, and 6 DFB Super Cups, which includes 2 treble-winning seasons. Number 8, Zlatan Ibrahimovic to PSG. Now, Zlatan was already a world-class striker when he signed for PSG, having had many successful stints at the likes of AC Milan, Inter Milan and Barcelona. But him signing to PSG in 2012 for a fee of just 20 million is another example of great transfer business. As after PSG were bought by Qatar Sports Investments in 2011, they needed a superstar signing to bring success to Paris. So they signed the one and only Zlatan Ibrahimovic. And the deal worked out for both player and club, as Zlatan had an immediate impact for PSG and fitted in perfectly, scoring 35 goals in his debut season, as well as winning PSG their first Ligue 1 title in 19 years. Zlatan's impact on the pitch as well was just nothing short of remarkable, as he was Ligue 1's top scorer and Ligue 1's Player of the Year in 3 of his 4 seasons, which is just mental to think about. And it was in this period that Zlatan made himself one of the finest strikers football has ever seen, with his spectacular catalogue of goals, as well as his technical ability, spearheading PSG to much domestic success, as Zlatan won 4 Ligue 1 titles, 2 Coupe de France's and 3 Coupe de Ligues, and becoming PSG's all-time leading goal scorer, but that record has since been broken by Cavani. Number 7, Thierry Henry to Arsenal. £11 million was the price Arsenal paid for Thierry Henry in 1999, which seems like an absolute bargain now. However, the move caused a lot of controversy at the time, as many people believed Henry simply wasn't worth that money, as he was considered ineffective at Juventus and struggled to find the net, as well as failing to score in his first 8 games for Arsenal. However, Arsene Wenger kept faith in a young Henry, as he was well aware of his ability after working with him as a youth player at Monaco, And it's fair to say that Arsene Wenger's faith in his fellow Frenchman paid off, big time, as he developed into a world-class attacker during his 8 years at Arsenal, becoming one of the best players in European football, who dominated the Premier League with his prolific goal scoring and on-the-ball ability, bagging 226 goals for Arsenal, becoming their record goal scorer, as well as being a Premier League Hall of Famer, like Aguero. And in terms of trophies, Henry was the main man in one of Arsenal's greatest footballing periods in their history, winning an FA Cup, 2 Premier League titles, including the Invincible Trophy, where the Gunners didn't even lose a single game in one Premier League season, a record that is yet to be broken, which then led him to get his own statue outside the Emirates, as he's widely considered as the Premier League's best ever player. Number 6, Ronaldo Nazario to Inter Milan. After one of the best individual seasons in the history of football, scoring 47 goals in 49 games, it was no surprise that Inter Milan came in for the services of the greatest striker we've ever seen. He was snapped up for a fee of 27 million, which was a world record fee at the time, after his contract extension with Barcelona fell through. However, despite the price tag being a hefty amount, R9 was worth every penny, as although the Italian league was considered the toughest league in the world at the time, due to the great plethora of defenders and the league's physical aspect, Ronaldo came in and made everything look so easy, while scoring 25 goals and winning the UEFA Cup in his first season, as well as picking up his first Ballon d'Or award in 1997, becoming the youngest player to ever win the award at just 21 years old. As Ronaldo played with the exact same style as he did in Spain, with his devastating goal scoring ability, as well as his ability to bamboozle defenders with his skills and dribbling, refusing to be intimidated by some of the world's best defenders, such as Maldini, who said he was the best player he'd ever played against, alongside Maradona. However, his time at Inter was cut short after 2 long-term knee injuries, which according to his physiotherapist was the worst football injury he'd ever seen. Which really does make you wonder, how good would R9 have been for Inter, and in general if it wasn't for injuries? Moving on to one of R9's fellow Brazilians is number 5, Ronaldinho to Barcelona. And I don't need to tell you much about Dinho. We all know he is the greatest entertainer ever, and is someone you just cannot hate, as he made many of us fall in love with the beautiful game. And his move to Barcelona in 2003 was a catalyst for all of us, as this was when Ronaldo was at his absolute best and was a complete nightmare for any defender who dared to face him one-on-one. As many people often forget, Barcelona were a woeful side before the 2003-2004 season, as in the previous season they just won 15 of their 38 league games, but the signing of Ronaldinho changed the game completely, and for only £25 million proved to be one of the best transfers ever made, as he, as well as his other teammates alongside him, such as Messi, Xavi and Patrick Kluivert, paved the way for a Barcelona golden age, and Ronaldinho was at the forefront of it all, as he was Barcelona's superstar, being known for his tendency to absolutely embarrass defenders, as well as being an effective attacker, scoring 94 goals over 4 years at the club, as well as bringing long-awaited glory to the Spanish club, as Ronaldinho won 2 La Liga titles and a Champions League, and won the Ballon d'Or in 2005, making his superstar move to Barca one of the best transfers ever. Number 4, Zinedine Zidane to Real Madrid. Picture this, it's the year 2000, and Spanish giants Real Madrid have just broken the transfer record for Luis Figo, signing him from Barcelona for €62 million. And a year later, they did it again with Zinedine Zidane.
Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
And at that point, everyone knew who Zidane was and what he was about, after already establishing himself as a world-class midfielder, whilst playing in Italy, where he won various club and individual awards, including the Ballon d'Or in 1998. So when Real Madrid saw the opportunity to add another superstar to their ranks, they made an offer Juventus couldn't refuse. And it was at Real Madrid where Zizou was arguably in his prime, and where he established himself as the best midfielder to ever play, being known for his gracious style on the ball, as well as his incredible playmaking ability, and his ability to just score some ridiculous goals, which is exactly what he ended up doing in his first year in Madrid, after scoring one of the best Champions League goals ever in the final against Bayer Leverkusen in 2002, which secured Real their 9th Champions League title, and the season after that Zidane would go on to win the league with Real Madrid. And although Zidane didn't win a heavy amount of trophies at Real, the Frenchman established himself as one of the best midfielders we've ever seen, as well as a Real Madrid legend and an iconic footballer the streets will never forget. Real quick one, if you guys are enjoying this so far, make sure to hit the like and subscribe, as we're trying to grow the channel as much as we can, so any support helps of course. Number 3, Marco van Basten. We talked about R9 earlier. Well, another man who's up there with him in the GOAT striker debate is Holland's Marco van Basten, as he is known as one of the most complete strikers to ever play the game, with the ability to score all types of goals, get past players, as well as having an excellent understanding of the game. And in 1987, AC Milan president Silvio Berlusconi, I'm so sorry if I said that wrong, completely changed the game for a struggling AC Milan side, who had already been relegated twice in the past decade, as he splashed the cash by signing Van Basten from Ajax and and fellow countryman Ruud Gullit from PSV. And these two signings, Van Basten in particular, would go on to form one of the greatest sides in the history of the game. And in his first season, Van Basten won AC Milan their first Scudetto in 8 years. However, Van Basten struggled with injuries that season, making only 11 appearances, but in his second season, Van Basten would hit fine form and would continue to do so for many years, which led him to score 283 goals in 377 games, as well as winning loads of trophies at AC Milan, as well as winning himself 3 Ballon d'Ors. Speaking of Ballon d'Ors brings me to number 2, who won the Ballon d'Or twice himself, and that's none other than Diego Armando Maradona, who transferred to Napoli from Barcelona after a lot of controversy surrounding him, for a fee of £7 million, which was a world record fee in 1984. And to be honest, this is probably one of the most beautiful stories in football, because as soon as Maradona touched down in Naples, he was treated like a god, and that's no exaggeration, with a sports writer even saying the fans were convinced that the saviour had arrived. Because at the time, Naples was a struggling city and a struggling football club who just escaped relegation in the previous season, and with the arrival of Maradona, things were about to change profoundly, as the Serie A was dominated by northern teams, such as both the Milan clubs and Juventus and Roma. And this guy Maradona, well, he joined arguably the toughest league in the world, and joined a completely woeful side. Went on to carry Napoli to 2 Serie A titles, a Coppa Italia, a Supercoppa Italia, and a UEFA Cup, and spearheaded Napoli into their most successful period ever. And despite leaving on bad terms with the people of Naples, due to controversy around drugs and the mafia, Maradona is still considered Napoli's greatest ever player, as well as being one of the best players ever. Moving on to number 1 is one of the greatest players in the history of the game, as well as one of the best transfers ever. That is none other than Cristiano Ronaldo's move to Real Madrid in 2009 for a fee of £80 million. And when you think of how much players are being bought and sold for nowadays, 80 million seems like an absolute bargain. Now, I could have done this about Ronaldo's move to United as well, where he did do very well, of course, but we all know Real Madrid was the peak of CR7. And to be honest, I don't really need to speak that much on Ronaldo. As we all know, during his time at Real Madrid, Ronaldo became one of the GOATs of football, alongside Lionel Messi at Barcelona, and became one of the most feared but respected wingers in Europe, known for his lightning pace, quick skills, and his goal scoring and athleticism. Ronaldo made history for Real Madrid by winning their first Champions League in a decade in 2014, as well as adding 3 more to that tally later on, and winning 2 La Liga titles and 2 Copa del Reys. And not only that, he won 4 Ballon d'Ors at Madrid, whilst breaking numerous records. I think it's only right he's number 1. So I think it's fair to say that those are some of the best transfers we've ever seen in football, without a doubt. But sometimes football transfers don't always work out, which is why you should check out this video on some of the worst contracts in football history. And if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, and why not sub if you're new around here as well. We're trying to grow the community as much as we can, so any help is appreciated. And once again, thank you so much for watching. This has been Discussing Ball.